This is a Wilds of Eldraine collector booster box opening. I am so excited about this. Look at this. Look at this little bud right here. This little bud with a sword sticking out of it. If this is a commander, like if this is a legendary creature, I'm making this commander deck so fast. You have no idea. Look, also, the little gingerbread boy in the Planeswalker logo. There you go. So in this pack of collector boosters, apparently there are something called anime-inspired Enchanting Tales cards, which are super extra special rare, and also something called, I think it's a Confetti foil. Let's just take a quick look down here. It says Confetti foil laminate in 2% of boosters. You probably can't see that. That's a little too small of the writing there. But it says 2% of boosters have confetti foil laminate. So good luck to us. Let's crack this open and see what's inside. This was, of course, provided to me by Wizards through the MTG Ambassador Program. Thank you so much, Wizards. And let's find out. I have no idea what's inside. I haven't seen anything yet. So this is going to be as much of a surprise to you as it is to me, or maybe more so, because previews, I suppose, will have come out by the time we crack this box together. So, let's get in this plastic. I'm a strong man, capable of opening things that are trapped in the plastic. Trapped in the plastic. Come on. Come on. Oh, it's painful. I feel so weak right now. It's just a little bit of plastic. There we go. Get this out of the way and let's get started. This time I came prepared. I have some little penny sleeves. I have some penny sleeves going everywhere in case we hit some shiny, fancy, foily things, which right now I don't even know what would be considered something valuable. So it's just going to be, today, we're just looking at things that I think are cool, and you're going to have to deal with it. So, so we have collector boosters and collector boosters. And that is everything that is in that box. All right, so we have, should be, I believe, 12. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 12. All right. Good luck to us. I've been looking forward to this set for I mean, since they announced it. I love Eldraine. Eldraine was a set that I missed because I think that came out like right when the pandemic shut down LGSs. So I didn't get to play very much of this set at all, actually. But we'll see what's going on here. So we're going to start out with a food token. Gorgeous. Looks like an eyeball in some soup. Very nice. An Archon of the Wild Rose. Other creatures you control that are enchanted by auras you control have base power and toughness 4/4 and have flying. So you're just making angels. Okay, that seems pretty cool. That seems pretty cool. Blind Obedience. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm gonna assume I don't actually know yet. I don't know, so I don't know. Is this a an anime enchanted card? Like I how do I tell? How do I know? It's too early to tell. But Blind Obedience, artifacts and creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Okay. And we have a Heart Flame Duelist. Heartflame Slash deals 3 damage to any target. Instant and sorcery spells you control have lifelink. Wait a minute. I'm going to have some fun shenanigans with that for sure. Hilda's Crown of Winter. Pay 1 and tap a creature. This ability costs 1 less to activate during your own turn, so you could just do it on your own turn. Okay. Or sacrifice it to draw a card for each tapped creature your opponents control. Legendary artifact. That's neat. Feral Encounter. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may exile a creature card from among them. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You may cast the exiled card this turn. At the beginning of the next combat phase this turn, target creature you control deals damage equal to its power up to 1 target creature you don't control. I feel like that's going to see some play. That seems like a lot of text on a card. Plus a fight, let's go. Intangible Virtue. Oh, that's a borderless foil. That I love the art on this. Wow. I'm going to swap this out on my Ginny Fey commander deck almost immediately. So, I'm going to put that up there. Impact Tremors, we know what that does. A forest. These lands are gorgeous. What does this say? Ubira. Obira. Obira. You'll have to tell me in the comments what you think the phonetics is on that one. Flash flying. Whenever another fairy enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life. I can see people building commanders around this for sure. Collector's Vault. 2, tap, draw a card, and discard a card. Create a treasure. That seems interesting. Princess takes flight. Saga. Turn 1 is exile up to 1 target creature. 2 is target creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains flying until the end of the turn. And 3, return the exiled card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Oh, interesting. So it delays bringing it back for a full turn. Interesting. Okay. Savior of the Sleeping. Vigilance. Whenever an enchantment you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Savior of the Sleeping. So I guess when sagas end, or I think there's a mechanic in this set that creates enchantments or enchantment tokens of some kind. It's very new to me right now, so we might already know the answer to that. Tuinvale Guide. Flying. Celebration. Tuinvale Guide gets +1/+0 and has lifelink as long as 2 or more non-land permanents entered the battlefield under your control this turn. Okay. And a Titanic Growth with some really fun art on it. A Ratcatcher Trainee. The instant for 3 is create 2 1/1 black rat creature tokens with this creature can't block. And then as long as it's your turn, Ratcatcher Trainee has first strike. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. All right, so for a first pack, there's a lot of really fun, interesting things in here. I think my favorite is the Feral Encounter. Just that art alone is great. That's lovely. And then the Crown of Winter seems like, I don't know, I've got a feeling like this might be an interesting card. But the Heartflame Duelist, the one that makes instant and sorcery spells you control have lifelink, that feels like something I want to build around immediately. So so that's pretty cool. Let's crack number 2 and see what's going on. These piles down here, I think we've got stuff I think is really neat, and then fun toys, commons, uncommons, lands, and then the tokens. You know, if you've seen my unboxing videos, you know that things can get a little jumbly when I get excited. So grain of salt. We'll see if it stays that way, but I'll try my best. So pack number 2 of 12. So we have another food token. Oh, I guess I didn't flip over the last one, right? So it's a food token, but also it's a treasure. Oh, very cool. And this is a food token of a different sort. Oh, that must be a confetti foil that we're looking at here. Let's just take a quick look at a nightmare token so you can see it. But this seems like it's the thing. So like it's I don't know if you can see this on the screen properly, but it's gorgeous foiling. And this is Kindred Discovery. As Kindred Discovery enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Whenever a creature you control of the chosen type enters the battlefield or attacks, draw a card. So Typal is going to want this for sure. And would this be an anime art as well? Time will tell, because it's so new. This is going to definitely get a penny sleeve. We'll just figure that out right now. Because if it's 2% of boosters get a confetti foil, and we are already seeing one in the second pack of this box here, that bodes well for us, I think. Let's move on with Shared Animosity. This says, whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +1/+0 until the end of the turn for each other attacking creature that shares a type with it. So it looks like Typal is going to be a big deal this set. Fairies we've seen human knights. So it looks like there's a lot of support for that, which is neat. Restless Fortress. I think we've seen these hints of these at the moment, at the time that I'm recording this. It enters the battlefield tapped. It's a monster land, I think we're calling those. Let me know in the comments if if it's something else. It's evolved since then to something even more haunting. So it's going to tap for add plains or swamp, and then for 2 plains and a swamp, it becomes a 1/4 white and black nightmare creature until the end of the turn. It's still a land, and whenever it attacks, defending player just loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So that's absolutely going to matter in games for sure. I think it's neat, and I'm going to put it in the fun column. There we go. Knick-knack Oaf. I love this art. This is so cool. Knick-knack Oaf enters the battlefield. Is it Oaf or Oof? I'm going to spend this entire video making up pronunciations for words, and y'all are going to be in the comments correcting me. And I mean, I'm not even sorry. I'm trying my best. Enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. When Knick-knack Oaf enters the battlefield, reveal the top X cards of your library. You may put any number of aura cards with a mana value X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Then put all cards revealed this way that weren't put on the battlefield on the bottom of your library in a random order. That seems like it could get really nasty really fast. So if you pay let's say you pay 3x, then you're looking at the top 3 cards, and then anything with a mana value 3 or less that's an aura just hits the battlefield right away. That seems like it could get really dirty really quick. So that's a fun card. That's going up top. Sleep Cursed Fairy. Let's see, I'll make sure that try to get the glare out of the way so you can read the card. Flying Ward 2, Sleep Cursed Fairy enters the battlefield tapped with 3 stun counters on it. And that's interesting. And then you pay 1 and a blue to untap the Sleep Cursed Fairy. So you play it right away. It's got flying and it's a 3/3. And then so essentially it's a 3/3 for 3 because you're untapping it to play it for the first time. And then depending on how many stun counters are on it, it might be slow after that, or there might be something in the set that you can manipulate stun counters with or something like that. That's interesting. You can also untap it at instant speed, right? So it is a blocker on the same turn you play it, as long as you don't spend that 2 mana if you treat it like a 3/3, I guess. So that's interesting. Dragon Mantle. When Dragon Mantle enters the battlefield, draw a card. It's borderless, very nice. Foil. Enchanted creature has fire breathing, so plus mountain gets +1/+0 till the end of the turn. That's always a danger zone for sure. Vampiric Rites. 1 and a swamp to sack a creature. You gain 1 life and draw a card. So staple sack outlet with a really haunting art there. Yikes. And the swamp. I like it. I like it very much. Johan, Apprentice Sorcerer, is next. Look at the top card of your library at any time. Once each turn, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from the top of your library. This is 2/5 for 4 human wizard. Not my cup of tea, but I can see how it would be useful for sure. Monstrous Rage for 1 mountain. You get a target creature gets +2/+0 until the end of the turn. Create a monster roll token attached to it, and we have the rules here too. So if you control another roll on it, put that one into the graveyard. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has trample. So a monster roll token gives a creature, enchants a creature and gives it +1/+1 and trample, and that's at instant speed. So it's giving it +3/+1 because the +2/+0 still matters, and then it goes away at the end of the turn. You're left with a +1/+1 and trample. So that's pretty spicy for like a 1-drop instant. Taken by Nightmares. Exile target creature. If you control an enchantment, scry 2. In this set, it's probably really easy to have an enchantment around, so maybe 4 mana to exile a target creature and scry 2 is not so bad at all. Ice Out. For 3, bargain. You may sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token as you cast this spell. The spell costs 1 less to cast if it's bargained. So if you sack an artifact, enchantment, or token while you cast the spell, you can cast it for 2 blue, and you just counter target spell. Interesting. Barrow Naughty for 1 and a black. Flying, it's a 1/3 creature. And Barrow Naughty has lifelink as long as you control another fairy. Okay, alright. And then for 3, so like a black and 2, it gets +1/+0 to the end of the turn. So you can boost it a little bit, not so bad. But the lifelink is interesting. I wonder how much that will matter in this set when it comes to like draft and stuff. Torch the Tower. So again, a lot of really like low value CMCs with just a ton of text on it. Like bargain. So it's got the bargain. If you sack an artifact, enchantment, or token as you cast a spell, it gets an extra effect. Torch the Tower deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If this spell was bargained instead, it deals 3 damage to that permanent, and you scry 1. If a permanent dealt damage by Torch the Tower would die this turn, exile it instead. That seems like a lot of text. Like that, like that's so assuming you're gonna spend, like you're gonna sacrifice a token to cast this, like that's 3 damage, you scry 1, and you're probably exiling that creature. That seems good. It's instant speed. I mean, what more do I want? Like Mocking Sprite. It's a flyer for 3. It's a 2/1. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less. Gotta love it. That's a staple ability, and it's gonna matter a lot in this set, I think. So that is pack 2. Okay. All right. I want to see that gelatin boy. That's what I'm looking for. I want it to be a legendary creature. I want it to have the sword in his tummy, and I want it to be the best boy, and I want to make a commander out of it. But we'll see. Food. This is a food token. So we've got 3 different food token arts already. All of them have been gorgeous. And this is a mouse. It's a blind mouse. Oh, pardon me. Bailey. It's okay. Hey, buddy. Hi. I apologize. There's a dog and some people talking in the hallway, and this is a one-shot video, so I'm not going to cut, and I apologize for that bark. I will make sure that there is some kind of a notice that like the bark is coming, or I'll cut it out of the audio or something like that. But we will continue on. Goblin Bombardment. This is, you love to see it, and this art is hilarious. It's a sacrifice a creature. Goblin Bombardment deals 1 damage to any target. Not so bad, and it's going in my fun column. I think that's where it's going to go. Aggravated Assault. I think this is one people are going to talk about. It's for 5, you untap all creatures you control. If this is a main phase, there's an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. Activate only as a sorcery. So this is going to end games. Like it's a huge threat. It stays on the field. You can do it multiple turns. That's a huge deal. And you can untap your creatures on an opponent's turn. And I think if you do that, you give them this extra combat phase and extra main phase, which is wild in Commander. If true, I'm not a judge, so somebody look that up. But that might be serious. So, Virtue of Knowledge. Let's see what we got here. It's an enchantment, and the 1/0 instant is copy target activated or triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. And then the card itself costs 5. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Okay, so, all right. I mean, we've seen that ability before, and if it's on a blue enchantment, that's going to be a problem. So, oh, it's a tortoise. It looks like we've got a mythic for 4. It's a blossoming tortoise. Creature, it's a turtle. It's a 3/3, and whenever blossoming tortoise enters the battlefield or attacks, mill 3 cards, then return a land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Activated abilities of lands you control cost 1 less to activate. Land creatures you control get +1/+1. This is it's not a commander, it's not a legendary creature, so you can have a handful of these if it's getting spicy in draft and you're getting lucky past a couple green bombs. See how that works out. Expel the Interlopers. Choose a number between 0 and 10. Destroy all creatures with power greater than or equal to the chosen number. Oh, I kind of like this. So, I mean, of course, it would be better for a deck where you're playing a lot of little to ground creatures, but you can be like spicy specific about it. So when people are starting to drop 4 or 5 attack power creatures, you can call 5, and then anything that or above gets destroyed for 5 mana. That's not bad at all. Season of Growth. Oh, I love this. Look at this. Look at this art. Season of Growth was a sleeper. I don't recall what set it last was seen in, but I remember searching for this to throw it in my commander decks. So because whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you scry one, and whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, you draw a card. This art is gorgeous, and that's going in my fun pile right there. So, Raid Bombardment. Whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less attacks, Raid Bombardment deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker that creature is attacking. Oh goodness. This is going to be a problem, especially if someone's lucky enough to be past multiples of these. That is a deck recipe for just wins on wins. So that's, you know what, putting it. It's an uncommon. I'm putting it in the fun column. This is an island. It's gorgeous. I love it. I love it every time. The art set is just absolute, just banger after banger for Lance. Discerning Financier for 3. It's a 2/3. At the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls more lands than you, create a treasure token. Okay. All right. And then for 3 again, you can choose another player. That player gains control of target treasure you control. You draw a card. So you can sell people treasure and then you draw a card. That's interesting. And then you're okay. So this is very politicky, right? You can help out people that at the table who are in dire straits, or you can politic to give people treasure for favors while you're drawing a card off it. That seems good for Commander. I wonder in limited if that's going to be like, do you want to be giving your opponent treasures in limited? I don't know. We'll see though. Fairy Dream Thief for a 1/1 for 1 flying. When Fairy Dream Thief enters the battlefield, surveil 1. So we've got surveil coming back in this set, which is interesting. So and also you can exile it from your graveyard. You can draw a card and lose 1 life. This is great. This is a great card. That's like, if it's hanging out, it's gonna be pinging for 1, and if it's not, then you get to draw a card and you lose a life off it. That's an ability that you would rather have on a card with lots of words, instead of just like a sorcery that lets you draw a card and lose a life. You know what I'm saying? So that's great. Graceful Takedown. Any number of target enchanted creatures you control and up to 1 other target creature you control. Oh, I guess that's not enchanted. My brain broke. I was like, wait, what does this mean? So as many enchanted creatures you control and up to 1 other target creature that you control that isn't enchanted is what that means. Each deal damage equal to their power to target creature you don't control. So it's like a huge gang up of power, and it just gets stronger if you have enchanted creatures on the field as well. So that's probably going to be decent and limited, but we'll see how that shakes out. Hopeful Vigil for 2. It's an enchantment. When it hits the battlefield, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. When Hopeful Vigil is put into a graveyard, you get to scry 2 from the battlefield, and then you can sacrifice it if you want to trigger that scry 2 on your own terms. Okay, that's all right. Hamlet Glutton for 7. We got a 6/6 with Bargain. The spell costs 2 less to cast if it's bargained. So in this case, if you bargain, you're saving yourself 2 mana, and it's a 5 mana 6/6, which is wild. It's got trample, and when it enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. So you could sack a food, and that's okay. See, I get the flavor now. It's a Hamlet Glutton, right? So it could sacrifice a food for free, so you're not spending mana to eat the food, and then you're saving mana to cast the Glutton. That's okay. See, I picked up on it. It just took me a moment. Okay, so and it looks like the last couple cards. Cooped Up for 2. It's an enchantment aura. You enchant a creature. They cannot attack or block. And for 3, you can exile it later. That's great. That's great. That's just like a better pacify, right? With a upside. If you want it to leave the field, you can. So that's just strictly better. So that's amazing. And then a Scream Puff. Oh my god, the puns. That's fantastic. Okay, so for 5, it's a horror. For 4, it's a 4/5 for 5. Horror, Death Touch. Whenever Scream Puff deals combat damage to a player, create a food token. I love it. I love everything about it. I love this. No notes. 10 out of 10. That's hilarious. That means when we finally see Gelatin Boy, that it's just gonna make my week. It's gonna this entire box opening is just gonna be like just the best. But remember, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that gelatinous dude. So we got a food token, and then it looks like I'm spoiling the best card of the set whenever I reveal the tokens. So I'll try to I'll try to show you the knight, and then what do we have here? Charming Scoundrel. Haste. It's a 1/1 for 2. When Charming Scoundrel enters the battlefield, choose 1. You can discard and draw a card, or create a treasure token, or create a Wicked roll token attached to target creature you control. We're going to have to learn what Wicked means because we haven't seen that yet. Oppression for 3. It's an enchantment. Whenever a player casts a spell, that player discards a card. Excuse me? Excuse me? This is going to feel so bad. It's going to feel so bad, and it's going in my fun column. Like, there's no way. There's no way. That's ridiculous. Gumdrop Prisoner. I can barely speak. This is ridiculous. This card is ridiculous. Whenever a player casts a spell, that player discards a card. Are you kidding me? Like, what? What? Oh my gosh. Okay, Gumdrop Poisoner. Not a prisoner, a poisoner. It's a 3/2 for 3. You create a food token for an instant speed for 1, and then it's got lifelink. When Gumdrop Poisoner enters the battlefield, up to 1 target creature gets -X until the end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gained this turn. So presumably it would be 3 if you spend that food token later. So, okay. All right. Oh, this looks fancy. This might be, I don't know if does this symbol imply it's a commander card? Corvold, Gleeful Glutton for 5, black, red, green. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each card type among permanents you've sacrificed this turn. Interesting. Flying Trample Haste. It's a 4/4, and whenever Corvold deals combat damage to a player, put X +1/+1 counters on it and draw X cards, where X is the number of permanent types among cards in your graveyard. So this is like heavy duty sacrifice play, and then it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Tramply. That someone's gonna have fun with this. It's not gonna be me. This is not how I like to play, but someone is going to have just a feast of a time with this card for sure. Devouring Sugar Maw. Oh my god. I put up a whole tweet when this card art was released, because nobody knew what it was really called. Nobody knew what it was really called, so I just made a joke, and I'll see if I can throw them up here real quick. All the names that I thought it might be. Devouring Sugar Maw is great. This is hilarious. I love this. It's a 6/6 for 4. It's a horror. Have for dinner. It's plains. It costs 1 and a white. So this is a dual colored card. Interesting. Create a 1/1 white human creature token and a food token. Presumably it's the thing it's about to eat. Okay, that's cool. Menace Trample. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token. If you don't, tap Devouring Sugar Maw. So you could sacrifice the food token, for example, or the human, I guess. Either or, whichever whichever suits. But Menace and Trample on a 6/6 is nothing to sneeze at. I love how this looks. I love the art. This is delicious, and it's going in the fun column. It's going right here. Griffin Airy. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained 3 or more life this turn, create a 2/2 white Griffin creature token with flying. It's beautiful art. Beautiful art. And that card sees a lot of play already, so that's great. Dark Tutelage. For 3, it's an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library and put that card in your hand. You lose life equal to its mana value. So, desperate play is if just get the card you need before you kill yourself with self-damage, but interesting. Swamp. We have seen it. We like it. Threadbind Cleek. For 4, it's a 3/3, but it also, again, 2 and a white. So we've got dual colors on some of these adventures, which is interesting. Destroy target tapped creature for 3 on an instant, and then it's a flyer, 3/3 for 4. Not bad. Definitely going to see play. Definitely going to be a problem. Back for seconds. It's sorcery for 3 with bargain. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. If this spell was bargained, you may put one of those cards with mana value 4 or less onto the battlefield instead of putting it in your hand. Oh, okay. All right, so if you've got it, then... Oh, hey, and it looks like we've got just a hint of our little jelly boy down there. Maybe there's hope. There's hope. We might see him yet. Greta, Sweet Tooth Scourge. Legendary creature, human warrior. When Greta, Sweet Tooth Scourge enters the battlefield, create a food token. Sacrifice a food, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, activate only as a sorcery. Or for 1 out of black, sack a food, you draw a card, and you lose 1 life. Seems good. It's a 3/3 for 3. And when it enters, it gives you a food token, so you can sack that food for either ability. And there's going to be food in this set. Like, so Greta might even be a build around for a fun food-based commander deck. That's interesting. Troublemaker, oof. 2/2 for 2. Bargain. When it enters the battlefield, if it was bargained, exile target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. Not bad. In the right circumstance, that could be very useful. We got Evolving Wilds. Edgewall Pack. Creature Dog. It's a 3/3 for 4. Menace. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 black rat creature token with this creature can't block. So you're getting 4 power for 4, and 3 of that power is Menace. Decent. I like it. Flick a Coin. Instant for 3. Flick a Coin deals 1 damage to any target. You create a treasure token, and you draw a card. Not the worst, not the best, but you know what? I think maybe somebody who is a much high level player is going to look at this and maybe break it, or some way to get a lot of value out of drawing a card and getting a token and dealing 1 damage to any target. But we will see. That person is not me. Let's crack this pack. What are we at? Pack 5 now? I was so distracted by the sugar maw that I do not remember. We got a food, and we've got a human. This is a Virtue of Persistence. This is a 7-drop enchantment mythic card. It's got a sorcery adventure. Lochwain Scorn, or Lothwain Scorn, maybe. Target creature gets -3/-3 until the end of the turn. You gain 2 life. And the Virtue of Persistence's ability is, at the beginning of your upkeep, put a target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Yep, that's delicious. I love it. I love everything about it. What else can I say? Fiery Emancipation for 6. If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, deals triple that damage. Oh, let's go. Let's go, triple damage. Oh my gosh, that's going in the fun column. Restless Spire. Oh, it's a new monster land. Okay, cool. Restless Spire enters the battlefield tapped. It adds Is It. And for Is It, until the end of the turn, it becomes a 2/1 blue and a red elemental creature with, as long as it's your turn, this creature has first strike. And whenever it attacks, scry 1. Ooh. Yeah, that's great. I'm a fan. That's going in the fun column right there. Yeah. Regal Bunnycorn. Are you kidding? It's a rabbit unicorn. It's the rabbit unicorn. Oh my god. Okay, so for 2, its power and toughness are each equal to the number of non-land permanents you control. Are you serious? I was like, that's nuts. That's nuts. Of course it's going in the fun column. Are you serious? Let's go. Agatha of the Vile Cauldron. It is Gruul, legendary creature, human warlock. It's a 1/1. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost X less to activate, where X is Agatha of the Vile Cauldron's power. This effect can't reduce the mana in the cost to less than 1 mana. But for 6, Other creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample and haste until the end of the turn. So automatically, activated abilities of creatures you control cost 1 less to activate. And then if you can pump it up, then maybe it can get nuts. So, okay, all right. So in the right hands, you know, in the right commander, or if you're getting a lot of pump spells, then you can really take advantage of this, I suppose. Dark Tutelage for 3. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card. Oh, we've seen this. There we go. All right. And the Griffin area as well. Forest. Disdainful Stroke. We know this one. Counter target spell with mana value 4 or greater. Tempest Heart for 4. And then we've got, again, dual colors. Scan the Clouds for 1 and a blue. Instant, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. Not bad at all. And then its other ability is Trample. Whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Okay, so for big stompies, you can get pretty meaty. Ego Drain. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. If you don't control a fairy, exile a card from your hand. What? What? Why would you play this card? It's sorcery speed. So then if somebody gets rid of your one fairy on the field, you have to exile a card when this resolves. Why would you do this? Somebody tell me why you would do this. Somebody explain to me why this is like an amazing... Come on. No, what am I not seeing? What am I not seeing about this? Cut In for 4. It's a sorcery. It deals 4 damage to target creature. Create a young hero role token attached to up to 1 target creature you control. And a hero role token says, whenever this creature attacks, if its toughness is 3 or less, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So it gets a little braver every time. That's neat. And I mean, you're paying 4 to damage, and then you also get this hero role token. So maybe this will see some play. I'm not sure. There might be more powerful options in the set, but it's an interesting thing to think about. Vantress Transmuter for 4. It's a 3/4. And Croaking Curse, 1 and a blue. It's a sorcery. Tap target creature. Create a cursed role token. Enchanted creature is 1/1. Oh, okay. Interesting. So you just like drop the power and toughness of a creature on your opponent's side of the field, I suppose. And then it's just a 3/4 human wizard. So that Croaking Curse might have some pretty bad implications if you can start, like, I don't know, using that more than once. Rhymefur Reindeer. Elk. It's a 3/4 for 4. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, tap target creature an opponent controls. This is an ability that that just rakes people over the coals time and time again. So I don't see any reason why that won't be a great card, at least in draft. Candy Trail. When Candy Trail enters the battlefield, scry 2. For 2 and a tap, sacrifice Candy Trail. You gain 3 life and draw a card. So it gets to be food, and also you get to draw a card out of it. That's pretty cool. That's also going in the fun column. So this set is just like adventure and whimsy, and it's completely down my alley. I'm hoping to do a Crack-a-Pack song for this set with maybe like a set booster down the line. So if I can get that going, watch out for it. But food token, and we have a bird and something gross, something wild, a devouring sugar moth. Oh, wait a second. So this is an alternate art. Look at this. It's like, wow. Look at this. It's even grosser. I want to put that in Benny's sleeve. It's just like, it's too cool. This is too cool. I like the bunt cake of the other art, but this is just like, what is it? Is it a cupcake? Is it I can't tell. But it looks wild. That's so cool. All right. Moving on. Sanguine Mond. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life as an enchantment. That art is gorgeous. Look at that. Wow. Gonna pop that in the fun column. Horned Lock Whale for 6. It's a 6/6 for 6. Whale creature, and then the instant adventure is 1 and a blue. The owner of target attacking creature you don't control puts it on the top or bottom or the library. So that's a great like quick delay removal for sure. And then the 6/6 has Flash, Ward 2, and when it enters the battlefield tapped, oh, it enters the battlefield tapped unless it's your turn, so that's why it's got Flash. So it just like pops out of the water, ready to go, as long as it's not your turn. That's cool, and I like the adventure art on it too. Talion's Messenger for 3. It's a 1/3. Fairy Noble Flyer. Whenever you attack with one or more fairies, draw a card, then discard a card. When you discard a card this way, put a +1/+1 counter on target fairy you control. Okay, yeah, this could get nuts, especially in fairy typal, right? So yeah, that could get wild in a hurry. Spectre of Mortality for 5. It's a 3/3. A specter with flying. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile one or more creature cards from your graveyard. When you do, each other creature gets -X/-X, where X is the number of cards exiled this way. Yeah, I mean it's a decent controllable board wipe, right? You can just handle as much as you want and just take it out. Vampiric Rites again with that gorgeous art. Spreading Seas, enchantment aura for 2. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchanted land is an island. Interesting. So, can you put that on an opponent's swamp? Can you? Is that like what is the? Tell me in the comments where you would want to turn an enchanted land into an island. Tell me what makes this card like either super great or super meh. Because right now I can't tell. And we've got our first planes of the set. Look at this. Wow, just briars everywhere. Wow, love it. Two-Headed Hunter. It's a 5-drop. It's a 5/4 for 5. Twice the Rage is the instant for 1 and a red. And it says target creature gains double strike to the end of the turn. Decent. And then the 5/4 has Menace. That's yeah, that's a pretty sweet uncommon for sure. Pick Lock Prankster. 1/3 for 2. Is this a reprint or is this the first one we've seen? Mill 4 cards. Then put an instant, sorcery, or fairy among them into your hand. Maybe this is new for the set. I can't recall. Flying, Vigilance. Decent. Stormkeld Vanguard. 6/7 for 6, so beefy boy. And it's Bear Down, a sorcery for 2. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Yep, standard removal. Stormkeld Vanguard can't be blocked by creatures of power 2 or less. Yeah, that's an issue. If you're going green stompy, yeah, you're definitely going to want this for sure. Verdant Outrider, 4/2 for 3. And then for 2, you can make it so that it can't be blocked by creatures of power 2 or less this turn. Yeah, that's going to be great. That's going to be great for green, for sure. Frantic Firebolt. For 3, it's an instant. Deals X to target creature, where X is 2 plus the number of cards in your graveyard that are instant cards, sorcery cards, and or have an adventure. So that can get out of hand in a hurry, but as long as it's damage to target creature. So it's not like a super bust, but that's still pretty good. Sky Beast Tracker, 2/4 for 4, giant archer with reach. Whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, create a food token. Decent food token generation. Love it. Freeze in place for 2. Tap target creature an opponent controls and put 3 stun counters on it. Scry 2. Yep. This will absolutely see play in limited for sure. There we go. No green juicy boy with a sword in his chest, ready to be my commander yet. So what do we got here? Well, that's another mouse. Pollen Shield Hair. Dual colors. So it is a 2/2 for 2. Creature tokens you control get +1/+1. That sounds decent to me. And then it's also Hair Raising, which is a sorcery for 1 green, where a target creature you control gains vigilance and gets +X/+X until the end of the turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. I mean, that sounds good. I mean, that sounds completely viable. Why wouldn't you play this? And why wouldn't it go in the fun column, right? Land Tax with a new art. Look at that. It's gorgeous, and I think this is an anime art. Okay, so here we go. Now I'm getting it. The symbol over here must mean, that must mean the Enchanted art series, because we saw that on the Confetti foil here. So when we see that symbol, that means that we've got an Enchanted anime art, which is great. I love this. This is super cool. And it's a land tax, which is even better. At the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls more lands than you, you may search your library for up to 3 basic land cards, reveal them, put them in your hand, and shuffle. That's great, and that's going straight into my awesome column right here. Oh, whoa, okay, so we've got Ashiok, Wicked Manipulator. We know it. Ashiok is always trouble. 5 counters, loyalty counters to start off with for 5 mana. And it says here, if you would pay life while your library has at least that many cards in it, exile that many cards from the top of your library instead of paying life. Okay, so we can get away with a little high paying life cost as long as we have a deep library. Okay, cool. +1 tick up says, look at the top 2 cards of your library. The art makes it a little hard to read here. I'll try to get you. Exile one of them and put the other into your hand. Yep, decent. That's great. And then -2, create 2 1/1 Black Nightmare creature tokens with, at the beginning of combat at your turn, on your turn, if a card was put into exile this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So that was what the Nightmare token we saw earlier is going to be. Wow. Okay. Those are going to get nuts real quick, right? Because if a card was put into exile, that means like if you +1, then those Nightmares, if they're still around, will get +1/+1 counters on them, which is pretty crazy, pretty fast. Especially since it's a 5/5 for 5, right? So you can make the Nightmares right away if you have the stability for it, and then just start ticking up and making them even stronger. The -7 is target player exiles the top X cards of their library, where X is the total mana value of cards you own in exile. What? So it even encourages you to throw away expensive cards when you're doing the +1, because you're still going to get a payoff later. It's not like you're just throwing away cards in exile and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, those mana values are going to matter because you can mill your opponents for that much. This is wild. I mean, we all know where this is going. This is going straight into the fun pile, right there. Spectre of Mortality. For 5, it's a 3/3 flyer. Oh, yeah, we've seen this one before. This extended art is really nice. Yenna, Red Tooth Regent. 4/4/4. It's a 2 and a tap. Choose target enchantment you control that doesn't have the same name as another permanent you control. So as long as you don't have any extra enchantments of that kind, I suppose. Create a token that's a copy of it, except it isn't legendary. If the token is an aura, untap Yenna, Red Tooth Regent, then scry 2. Activate only as a sorcery. So it's intended to be used with aura enchantments, but you can still use it with other enchantments as long as you don't already have a second version of it. That's interesting. I could see people wanting to try to build around that for sure. Knightly Valor. This is it's anime art and it's gorgeous, and we've seen this before. This is the one that makes a 2/2 white knight, and enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has vigilance. Wait, have we seen this yet? My brain is probably broken. Here we go. That's fine. It's gorgeous though. Season of Growth, we have seen this, and it is juicy. Plains, High Fae Negotiator, a 3/5 for 5, creature, fairy warlock with bargain. Flying, when it enters the battlefield, if it was bargained, each opponent loses 3 life, and you gain 3 life. Okay, so a little upside there. Toughness, flyer, ready to go. I wonder if that will see play. Hearth Elemental, 4/5 for 6, with a sorcery, Stoke Genius for 2. Discard your hand, then draw 2 cards. Okay, all right. I mean, presumably you're just throwing cards out because you're red anyway, right? So you should have a low hand total, and then you just drop those, draw 2 new cards. That's okay. And then the Hearth Elemental itself says this spell costs X less to cast, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard that are instant cards, sorcery cards, and or have an adventure. I mean, okay, all right. So it even works with itself. So for 2, discard a giant hand of instants and sorceries, and then you can play it for super cheap if you want to get it out really early. And then maybe you're playing a recursion deck, or maybe you're playing something that benefits from things being in your graveyard. But that's interesting. The Witch's Vanity. It's an enchantment saga for 2. And let's see, it starts by destroying a target creature an opponent controls with mana value 2 or less. Next one is create a food token, and the third is create a wicked roll token attached to target creature you control. So we saw Cursed, and Cursed was the one that gives a creature 1 power, 1 toughness. I'm not sure if we've seen Wicked yet. Moment of Valor. For 3, it's an instant in white. Untap target creature gets +1/+0 and indestructible, or destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. That's, yeah, decent. Brave the Wilds. For 1, a sorcery, you can bargain. If the spell is bargain, target land you control becomes a 3/3 elemental creature with haste, and it's still a land. And then you search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Oh, that's permanent, isn't it? Yeah, it's that you're just making a 3/3 for 1 as long as you are sacrificing an artifact, enchantment, or token. Yeah, okay. All right, that seems sneakier than it looks. I'll put it that way. Bestial Bloodline. Enchantment aura for 2. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2, and for 5, you can return the Bloodline from your graveyard to your hand. So, recursive enchantment. Decent. Bellowing Bruiser. 4/4 for 5 with haste. And Beat a Path for 3. It's a sorcery. Up to 2 target creatures can't block this turn. That's always a great ability to drop on your opponent when they least expect it. And then come in for some extra damage. So there we go. So where are we at? Where are we at right now? We've got 5 packs left. We're doing great. I'm super stoked. There's an Ashiok in that pile, and there's a rainbow foil, a confetti foil, a celebrational spicy sprinkle foil, and we're that much closer to our jelly boy, right? So food and a rat. Oh, that rat's adorable. This creature can't block. It's okay, buddy. I got you. Don't worry about it. Elvish Archivist for 2. Elf Artificer. It's a 0/1. Whenever 1 or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control, which includes food. Remember, right? Because food is a token artifact. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on Elvish Archivist. This ability triggers only once each turn. Whenever 1 or more enchantments enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This ability happens only once each turn. So you're drawing cards, and you are putting 2 +1/+1 counters on this. This is great. This is going straight into the fun column. Leyline of the Void. Hey, the ley lines. Are the ley lines coming back, or is this new? Let's see. For 4, if a Leyline of the Void is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. If a card would be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. I think, yeah, this I'm pretty sure this is a reprint. It's also, as we can see, an anime art, which is great. Leyline is going straight into my fun pile. Questing Druid for 2. It's a 1/1. Whenever you cast a spell that's white, blue, black, or red, put a +1/+1 counter on Questing Druid. Seek the Beast. Instant. Exile the top 2 cards of your library until the next end step. You may play those cards. My brain is breaking. Seems okay, but it's not my bag, but it's going to be for someone. Song of Totentans? Song of Totentans? X and a red. Create X 1/1 black rat creature tokens with this creature can't block. Creatures you control gain haste until the end of the turn. Okay, great. I love it. I love everything about this. This is fantastic. Also, this is going straight into my Jenny Faye Oops All Cats token deck. That's going straight in the fun pile. We got a Restless Spire, which we've seen before, which is nice. Utopia Sprawl for 1. When it enters the battlefield, choose a color. When Enchanted Forest is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional 1 mana of the chosen color. Okay, yeah, that's decent. Curiosity. It's an aura. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. Yeah, that's great. And it's the anime art, which is lovely. Mountain. Oh, it's our first mountain. Look at this. Gorgeous. 3 bowls of porridge. For 2 is an artifact food. 2, choose one that hasn't been chosen. 3 bowls of porridge deals 2 damage to target creature, or tap target creature, or sack it, and you gain 3 life. So it's a better food. That's very cute. I like that. Ariette's Tempting Apple for 4. It's a legendary artifact, uncommon. It's a food as well. When Ariette's Tempting Apple enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature until the end of turn. Untap it. It gains haste until the end of the turn. And then you can either sacrifice the apple to gain 3 life, or sacrifice the apple and your target opponent loses 3 life. Oh, that's like, I think, okay. I think that's cool. I think people are going to have some fun with that in Limited for sure. Soul Guide Lantern. We've seen this, but the art is nice. This is the one where you get to exile a card from a graveyard, and then you sack it and you exile each opponent's graveyard, or you can sack it to draw a card. No big deal. Witch's Mark. For 2, it's a sorcery. You may discard a card. If you do, draw 2. Create a Wicked Roll token attached to up to 1 creature you control. Okay, so now we get to learn what Wicked Roll tokens do. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1. When this aura is put into a graveyard, each opponent loses 1 life. So it's a little bit of a vindictive mark. So when your creature dies, your opponents lose a life. Okay. All right. Besotted Knight for 4. It's a 3/3. Create a Royal Roll token attached to target creature you control. Royal, that's hard to say. Royal Roll tokens. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has Ward 1. So a Royal Roll token gives creatures +1/+1 and Ward, which is okay. It's all right. There's nothing that I want to write home about, but Obria's Attendance. 3/4 for 5. It's flying, but then also for in an instant, target creature gets -4/-0 until the end of turn for 2. Yeah, we've seen that ability before, and it's definitely a problem when Limited. Sleight of Hand for 1. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put 1 in your hand and the other on the bottom of your library. Decent. I'm going to keep the camera rolling for just 2 seconds, and then I'll scrub forward. But there's no cuts, there's no edits here. It's just that my phone says that it's going to die because we've been doing this for almost an hour. So hang on. Okay. And I was using my headphones for the audio there, so I apologize, friends. But in order to plug in my phone, I had to unplug that. So the audio the audio is going to have a little bit of a hiccup for the rest of the video. I'm sorry about that, and I will make it up to you with some awesome pulls. All right, so we got a food token again, and another Nightmare. Very nice. And, oh, it's a foil Fiery Emancipation. That's going in the fun column right there. Greater Oromancy. Oh, this is a anime art, enchanted art. Other enchantments you control have Shroud. Enchanted creatures you control have Shroud. Ooh, I like it. That's probably something that can be played around with for sure. Restless Vinestock. And this would be, this is the Simic monster land. So it will become a 5/5 green and blue plant creature with trample until the end of the turn for 5. And whenever it attacks, up to 1 other target creature has a base power and toughness of 3/3. So it boosts something else as well. That seems dangerous. That seems like it could get out of hand real fast. Lady of Laughter for 5. Flyer for 4/5. And it is a celebration. At the beginning of your end step, if 2 or more non-land permanents entered the battlefield under your control this turn, draw a card. Okay, so if people are coming to the party, then you get extra prizes out of it. That's okay. Imidane, the Pyro Hammer for 4. It's a 4/4 for 4. Whenever an instant or sorcery spell you control that targets only a single creature deals damage to that creature, Imidane deals that much damage to each opponent. Yep, this is a Commander Legendary build around for sure. Absolutely, this card is going to be something people want to play with. Hatching Plans for 2. When it is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw 3 cards. Oh, cool. So you play it, and then it's like, it's like an egg. And then when you find a way to get it into the graveyard, you get to draw 3 cards for 2 cost and a little bit of time. That's neat. And I like the art as well, which is anime, which is very cool. What's going on here? Oh, it's little eggs in the corner. Yeah. Grasp of Fate. This art is gorgeous. Another anime art. For 3, it's an enchantment that says, when Grasp of Fate enters the battlefield, for each opponent, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent that player controls until Grasp of Fate leaves the battlefield. So for each opponent, you get to exile something, that's pretty wild. I don't know how long it will last on the field in a commander game because everyone wants their stuff back, but that's a pretty cool ability for sure. And then, I mean, in limited, that's just fine, right? You're just exiling something until it leaves the battlefield. Swamp, very nice. Splashy Spellcaster. It is a 2/4 for 4. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a sorcerer role token attached to up to 1 other target creature you control. So a sorcerer role. And a sorcerer role token, that enchanted creature gets +1/+1, and whenever this creature attacks, scry 1. So sorcerer lets you scry when it attacks. That's neat. Bitter Chill. 2/2. Wait, no, sorry. I meant it costs 2. It's an enchantment aura. It has no power or toughness. You can enter the battlefield and tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. When Bitter Chill is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay 1. If you do, scry 1, then draw a card. That sounds great. That sounds fantastic. Tenacious Tome Seeker. Human Knight 3/2 for 3 with Bargain. When Tenacious Tome Seeker enters the battlefield, if this was bargained, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. It's not bad. It's not fantastic, but it will see some play in limited for sure. Unassuming Sage. 2/2 for 2. When Unassuming Sage enters the battlefield, you may pay 2. If you do, create a sorcerer role token attached to it. So if instead you are paying 4, then it is a 3/3, and whenever it attacks, you scry 1. That doesn't sound bad, actually. So you can play it for a 2/2 real quick, and if you hang on to it or pick it up late, then it still has a nice benefit. That's cool. Root Rider Fawn. A 1/3 for 2. It's mana. Tap it for mana, or pay 1 and tap it for any color. That's going to be picked highly for sure. Hollow Scavenger. 3/2 for 3. Create a food token for 1 at a bakery raid. I like that name. And then you can pay 1 sack of food. Hollow Scavenger gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. Activated only once each turn. So that's neat for like a little discount. Instead of getting life off of a food, you can get some extra power in with the Scavenger. And then Plunge into Winter. For 2, it's an instant. Tap up to 1 target creature. Scry 1, then draw a card. All right, listen, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a little disappointed that we haven't seen our boy yet. Just a little disappointed. But there's still hope. This is we're third last pack to the end. But I'm gonna keep up hope. So here's another food token, and it is a treasure. Then we have seen Yenna before, which is all right. We've seen Goblin Bombardment before. And I don't remember if I put it in the fun column. I think I will. I think I'll put it in the fun column. Bramble Familiar. It's 2/2 for 2, which also is it's a mana tapper for green, or you can pay 2, tap and discard a card, and return the Bramble Familiar to its owner's hand. That's neat because the sorcery is Fetch Quest for 7. Mill 7 cards, then put a creature, enchantment, or land card from among the milled cards onto the battlefield. Ah, interesting. So if you can manipulate something close to the top of your deck and then do this on purpose, you can just cheat out some funky creatures. Interesting. I also really like the adventure-y art here. It's very nice. I think we're not putting it in the fun column. Just gotta, we gotta have standards. You know what I'm saying? For 4, The End. Okay. Instant. This spell costs 2 less to cast if your life total is 5 or less. Okay, exile target creature or planeswalker. Search its controller's graveyard, hand, and library for the same for any number of cards with the same name as that permanent and exile them. That player shuffles, then draws a card for each card exiled from their hand this way. It's neat, but we've seen this kind of an ability before, and it usually has like a little too much of a drawback. You're usually thinning out their deck, and then they draw cards for each card that you've exiled anyway. So you're giving them card draw. So unless there's something really specific you need to get rid of, then this is a little bit of a dicey play. Gruff Triplets. For 6, we are getting Satyr Warriors, a 3/3. It's a trample. When it enters the battlefield, if it isn't a token, create 2 tokens that are copies of it. Oh, shnikes. Okay, so you're getting 3/3/3s. When Gruff Triplets dies, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to its power on each creature you control named Gruff Triplets. Hang on a minute. Okay, so let's do the math, right? So it's a 3/3 for 6 that makes 2 more 3/3s. So it's 9/9 power toughness for 6, right, on the field as 3 3/3s. And then when one of them dies, what happens is you put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to its power on each creature you control named Gruff Triplets. So one dies, you're putting 3/3 on each of the 3/3s, so you now have 2 6/6s. And then when one dies, the last Gruff Triplet becomes a 12/12. Yeah, that seems pretty fun. I mean, that seems pretty wacky. That's my kind of wacky for sure, actually. You know what? We're putting it in the fun column. Let's just, remember when I said we have standards? I don't know anymore. Raid Bombardment. That's like the 3rd one we found. This is great. Love it. Hatching Plants. There we go. Forest. Ruby. Daring Tracker. For Gruul. Haste. It's a 1/2. Whenever Ruby attacks while you control a creature with power 4 or greater, Ruby gets +2/+2, so it becomes a 3/4 till the end of the turn. And you can tap it for a red or a green. That seems good. That seems pretty good. Not gonna lie. Shrouded Shepherd is the next one. It's a 2/2 for 2 with, again, it's a black costing sorcery adventure. So again, with the dual colors. Creatures your opponents control get -1/-1 till the end of the turn. Decent. When Shrouded Shepherd enters the battlefield, target creature you control gets +2/+2 to the end of the turn. This is a good card. It's a good card. That's probably a really high pick in draft for sure. And it's really going to mess with your opponents. Eerie Interference for 3. Instant. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you and creatures you control this turn by creatures. So prevent all damage that would be dealt to you and creatures you control this turn by creatures. So you play this during a combat and your opponent takes a ton of combat damage, but like they're creatures, but yours are fine. So yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. Ginger Brute. We get the Ginger Brute back. I love it. I love this boy. It's a 1/1 for 1. It's a food golem with haste. For 1, it can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with haste. And for 2 and a tap, you can sack it and treat it like a food and gain 3 life. That's going in the fun column. I'm telling you. Ariet's Whisper. Target opponent discards 2 cards, create a Wicked Roll token attached to up to 1 creature you control. And that's it's gross. So for 4, you get to make your opponent discard 2 cards, and then one of your creatures gets a +1/+1 counter on it. That also says when the aura is put into a graveyard, each opponent loses 1 life. So, yikes. Grabby Giant for 4, it's a 4/3. That's Mine is the instant adventure for 2. It says create a treasure token. And then the giant itself has reach, and you can pay 3 to sacrifice an artifact or a land to draw a card. That's interesting, actually. Yeah, so you can sacrifice a bunch of land at the end of the game and draw cards to hopefully get your win answer. That's kind of cool. Snare Master Sprite, a fairy wizard, 1/1 for 1. It's got flying, and when it enters the battlefield, you may pay 2. When you do, tap target creature and opponent controls and put a stun counter on it. Yep, that's great. That's great. It's going to see play. People are going to use it against me, and I'm going to be sad. Absolutely. This is our second last pack. Thank you very much for hanging out with me, for that surprise little barkity bark, and for the little technical snaffabilities. But you know what? I'm happy you're here. I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I get to do this and share it with you. Here we go. So we got a mouse and a food token. Forced Fruition is our animated borderless foil card. For 6, it's an enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player draws 7 cards. Excuse me? Excuse me? What? That's insane. That's insanity. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, so not even you, they draw 7 cards. They just draw 7 cards. That's hilarious. That is going in a deck of mine in some way, shape, or form. And it's going to be some kind of a, like, put an opponent's deck into their hand kind of a deck. That's hilarious. What the heck? Hey, we got another ley line. And it's anime art. Love it. If the ley line is in your opening hand, you can begin the game with it on the field. You may cast spells as though they had flash. Oh, love it. This card is a problem, and it's probably worth a couple bucks, and it's going in the fun column. And I'm definitely going to find an excuse to play it. Pollen Shield Hair, we've seen it, and it's going to join its buddy in the fun column. Alayla, Cunning Conqueror. It's a mythic. Looks like it might even be a commander card. Legendary creature. 2/4 for 4 with flying. Whenever you cast your first spell during each opponent's turn, make a 1/1 black fairy rogue creature token with flying. Whenever one or more fairies you control deal combat damage to a player, goad target creature that player controls. Oh, okay, wild. Yeah, this is absolutely like a strong commander and a problem. If you want to do like a fairy typal kind of a deck, this is absolutely a commander you should pick. Sentinel of Lost Lore. 3/4 for 3. It's an elf knight. When Sentinel of Lost Lore enters the battlefield, choose one or more. Return target card you own in exile that has an adventure to your hand, so you can play the adventure twice. That's cool. Put target card you don't own in exile that has an adventure on the bottom of its owner's library, so you can prevent an opponent from playing the creature version of an adventure they've played. That's interesting. Or exile target player's graveyard. Decent. That's decent for sure. Impact Tremors. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, Impact Tremors deals 1 damage to each opponent. So having the Bombardment and the Impact Tremors in the same set is absolutely going to make little Token Rush a huge problem. So watch out for that when you're drafting for sure. This anime art is beautiful. Borderless, foil, love it. It's going in the fun column, because why wouldn't it? Hey, we've got another one. Look at this Stab Wound. Enchanted creature gets -2/-2 at the beginning of the upkeep of the enchanted creature's controller. That player loses 2 life. Ooh, yeah, that's a problem. So it's not even one of those cards where they're encouraged to sacrifice the creature so they don't take any damage or anything like that. It's just, it's going to hang out and it's going to bleed your opponent. That's that's something to keep in mind for sure. Absolutely. Island, gorgeous, love it. Toten Tans. Oh, we've seen Toten Tans in with the flute before. Swarm Piper. So it's a legendary human warlock bard. Bard is great for me. I want to make a bard deck very badly for obvious reasons. 2/3 for 3. Whenever the Swarm Piper or another non-token creature you control dies, create a 1/1 black rat creature token with this creature can't block. And then for 2, target attacking a rat you control gains Death Touch until the end of the turn. I love this. I love this, and I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't just go ahead and make a commander deck out of this right now. Yeah. I love that kind of thing. That's fantastic. Dream Spoilers. 2/2 flyer for 4. Whenever you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, up to 1 target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 until the end of the turn. So, I mean, if you have a lot of like answers, reaction, kind of instant stuff that you can play, or the ley line that lets you flash stuff in, then you can get a little bit of extra value. That's it's not bad. It's not great. It's not bad. Charade of Numbing Depths. It's a legendary merfolk wizard. For 4, it's a 2/3. When it enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls, put a stun counter on it. Whenever you tap 1 or more untapped creatures your opponent controls, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. So this is the kind of card that would expect you to benefit from multiple cards that tap your opponent's creatures, and then you get to draw a card a turn. But it's only once each turn, so it's not going to get too out of hand, but something to watch for sure. Crystal Grotto, love that art, decent. Merfolk, oh no, sorry, I apologize. That's not going in the super cool column. Merfolk Coralsmith, 2/3 for 3. For 1, Merfolk Coralsmith gets +1/-1 till the end of the turn, and when it dies, scry 2. So you can pop it in your graveyard whenever you feel, whenever you really want that scry. So that's interesting. And then a Return Triumphant. For 2, sorcery, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Create a Young Hero roll token. How many token rolls has that been? Is that 5? Young Hero roll token, which means whenever this creature attacks, if its toughness is 3 or less, put a +1/+1 counter on it. If you put another roll on the creature later, put this one into the graveyard. Interesting. Okay. I mean, it's breaking my brain, but someone's going to figure it out for sure. And this is an Unruly Catapult, 0/4 for 3. Defender, you can tap it to deal 1 damage to each opponent. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, untap it. Look at, oh my gosh, they're just ping party decks are going to come out of draft all over the place, and we need to be ready for it. This is our last collector booster. Oh my god, I'm shaking the camera. Thank you so much, everybody, for scrubbing through this video to watch just the pack opening. And if you care at all about the fun that I'm having sharing this stuff with you, then I'm very grateful. And if you're just here for the cards, you know what, I'm grateful too. That's okay. We're just doing our own thing, right? And I'm thankful for the time that we get to spend just looking at some cards. This is super fun. So we got a food and a fairy. It's the first fairy token of the box, I think. And this can only block creatures with flying. There we go. We've got a foil borderless feral encounter, which we saw before. I like the art so much, it's going in the fun column. Aggravated assault with the anime art. That's gorgeous, super gorgeous, and it's going in the fun column. Virtue of Courage. It's an enchantment for 5, but it also has an adventure on it, which is neat. For 2, it's an instant, deals 2 damage to any target, and then the enchantment itself says whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, you may exile that many cards from the top of your library. You may play those cards this turn. So the bombardments that we've been getting, non-combat damage to an opponent, eh? Yeah, that's wild and gorgeous, and it's going in the fun column. I'm sorry, it has to. Fairy Blade Crafter, a 2/2 for 3. It's a fairy rogue with flying. Whenever one or more fairies you control deal combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on Fairy Blade Crafter. When Fairy Blade Crafter dies, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life where X is its power. Yeah, so I mean, Typal is a huge deal in this set, and this seems like a really great payoff if you're going to play fairies or even rogues, right? So that's pretty cool. Charming Scoundrel. It's a 1/1 for 2 with haste. Oh, we've seen this. We've seen a Charming Scoundrel. And you know what? We're not going to spend any more time with it. We got a Curiosity. It's foil. It's gorgeous. It's going in the fun column because I make the rules. Garrick's Uprising. It's an enchantment for 3. We've seen, this is a nice reprint, and I love the anime art as well. So when Garrick's Uprising enters the battlefield, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Creatures you control have trample. Whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield, under your control, draw a card. It's a great card. It's seen play in big stompy times, and it's going in the fun column. We got that Mountain as the last land. Belligerent of the Ball. It's a 3/3 for 3 with Celebration at the beginning of combat on your turn. If 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, target creature you control gets +1/+0 and Menace. So it could be a 4/3 with Menace until the end of the turn. Gross. Knight of Doves. a 1/3 for 3. Whenever an enchantment you control is put in a graveyard from the battlefield, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. I can see how this could be a problem, especially with the rolls. The rolls are considered enchantments, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that could be a big deal. Welcome to Sweet Tooth. Create a 1/1 human creature token for 2, and then on the second turn you create a food token, and then on the third, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is 1 plus the number of foods you control. Sure, yeah, I'll take it for some kind of a food spicy deck. Let's go. Johan's Stopgap. For 4, it's a sorcery with bargain. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it's bargained, and if you do that, it costs 2. Then you can return a non-land permanent to its owner's hand and draw a card. Sounds good. Honestly, I think this is something people will ignore in draft, and then the person who's picked up like 4 of them and is playing like, I don't know, a Simic food deck or something with a bunch of tokens that they can just like pop off really easily, they're going to be bouncing your stuff back to your hand and getting card advantage because they're drawing more answers. And that's a problem. So watch out for that for sure. Spider Food. For 3, destroy up to 1 target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. Make a food token. Yep, pretty standard. And then Into the Fey Court is that our last? Oh, second last. For 5, it's a sorcery. Draw 3 cards. Create a 1/1 blue fairy creature token with flying, and this creature can block only creatures with flying. So that's this fairy that we picked up. Draw 3, make a fairy that can only block flying creatures. And then the last card of our journey today is Kellen's Lightblades. It is a 1/1 instant. Why do I... You know what? I apologize. We have to get this last card right. It is a instant, which does not have a power and toughness. It is a 1 and a plains cost. It's called Kellen's Lightblades. See what it does. It has bargain, and when Kellen's Lightblades deal... Oh, Kellen's Lightblades deal 3 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. If this spell was bargained, destroy that creature instead. So, okay, so you can deal 3 damage to an attacking or a blocking creature, which is a pretty standard ability, but you can guarantee it dies if you bargain with it. Okay, cool. So this is wild. We still haven't seen our boy. I don't know if this is a real card. I don't know, but it's at the front of the pack, and it has a sword sticking out of it, and it has a smiley face, and I need it. So let's make this happen. But flipping through here, I am super excited about getting an Ashiok. That's amazing. I'm very stoked about that. The land tax, I'm very excited about. And we hit a Confetti land with, I mean, it's, you know what, it feels like Confetti land. But it's not a land. It is a Kindred Discovery, which is just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. And time will tell how hard it is to actually find these kinds of cards. But I have 2 Pollen Shield Hairs, which I'm definitely going to throw into some kind of a fun deck. Maybe it's going into Ginny Fae. All creature tokens you control get +1/+1. Maybe that's where it belongs. We'll find out. And the Devouring Sugar Maw, which is just deliciously gross art. And the Bunny Corn. I love it. I love everything about it. This set is my jam, and I hope it's yours too. Let me know what you're looking forward to. Let me know what I got wrong. Let's grow together, shall we? Thank you very much for being here, and I will see you in the next video.